She built a garden that brought joy to her entire neighborhood. Until the HOA said, tear it down, or pay the price. But what happened next, no one saw coming. This isn't just about flowers, it's about standing up for what matters. In the quiet suburbs of Willow Creek, nestled between identical beige homes and neatly trimmed lawns, there was one house that stood out, not because it was bigger or bolder, but because it was alive. The garden outside bloomed with wild roses, sunflowers, lavender, and vines that curled like poetry around a white picket fence. It belonged to Mrs. Alina Hassan, a 68-year-old retired schoolteacher with a love for nature and a heart full of stories. To her, gardening wasn't just a hobby, it was healing. But not everyone loved that garden. In fact, one group wanted it gone, the local Homeowners Association or HOA. Trouble begins. Letter in the mail. It started with a letter. A plain envelope, no stamp, just placed in her mailbox. Dear resident, your front yard is in violation of HOA landscaping guidelines. You are required to remove all non-compliant flora within 14 days or face fines. Alina read the letter twice. Then again. Her hands trembled, not out of fear, but disbelief. Violation? For flowers? For the butterflies? For something that brings joy. The rules black and white flashback style. The HOA had strict rules. Lawns must be mowed weekly, no excessive plants, only approved shrubs and grass types. They wanted uniformity, not individuality. Alina's garden, though tidy, well-loved, and admired by many, broke those rules. But rules don't always measure beauty. And certainly not love. The community reacts. Emotional music begins. News of the notice spread through the neighborhood. And something unexpected happened. People got angry, not at Alina, but at the HOA. Neighbor 1. That garden is the heart of this street. My daughter learned the names of her first flowers there. Neighbor 2. When I had chemo, Alina brought me lavender tea from her garden every day. You don't find someone like that. You thank them. Within days, over 40 families signed a petition to let the garden stay. But the HOA wouldn't budge. The first fine, a turning point. Backslash, sound effect, envelope hitting the ground. Camera zooms in on backslash $200 fine, non-compliance. The first fine came on the 15th day. Backslash $200. Alina sat on her porch, watching bees hover over marigolds, clutching the notice like a warning shot. Alina. I couldn't pay hundreds just to keep joy alive. But I also couldn't pull it all out. That garden is a part of me. Standing up, the community fights back. The neighbors had had enough. That weekend, over 30 people showed up at Alina's home with shovels, mulch, compost, and ideas. Neighbor 3 young woman. If it's about non-regulation design, we'll help re-landscape it to look HOA friendly, but still keep the soul. And so began Operation Garden Save. Architects, kids, retired veterans, all pitching in. They installed raised beds, placed ornamental borders, and even drew up a design plan that looked like it came from an HOA handbook, but with every plant from Alina's original garden. It was beautiful, balanced, blooming. The inspection, HOA versus heart. The HOA returned for inspection. 3 board members in suits, walking across the lawn like detectives. They measured, took photos, whispers and frowns. Then another letter. Minor violations remain. Garden must be reduced by 40% or fines will increase. The turning point, media attention. That second letter? It broke the internet. A local teenager posted before and after photos with the caption, "Why does beauty scare the HOA?" It went viral. Local news channels picked up the story. Garden clubs across the country reposted. Celebrities tweeted. Activists shared. Let the Garden Grow began trending. The meeting, community versus HOA. The HOA called a special meeting. But instead of quiet compliance, they faced a sea of neighbors, many holding flowers. Some brought signs. One read, "We are the garden." I didn't ask anyone to fight for me. But they did. Because they saw the bigger picture. This wasn't about a garden anymore, it was about kindness, color, and community. Neighbor 4. If your rules can't make room for something beautiful, then maybe your rules need changing. The vote, victory blooms. That night, the community voted. With overwhelming support, new HOA board members were elected, people who believed in flexibility, in humanity. The landscaping rules were revised. Alina's garden? Officially approved. But even more important, HOA policies were reworded to include asterisk exceptions for personal expression, cultural practices, and community-supported projects. Full bloom, 1 year later. A year later, Alina's garden was even bigger. Not just in plants, but in spirit. Other homes started planting too. One neighbor built a native plants corner. Another created a peace garden in memory of his wife. The street was no longer identical, it was vibrant, alive. I didn't fight for this garden. Love did. And sometimes, love wins. When rules lose sight of people, they lose their purpose. But when communities come together, they can grow something truly beautiful. This is more than a garden story. It's a story about standing up, kindly, bravely, for what brings people joy. Let it grow. Always. If this story moved you, even just a little, don't let it stop here. Like, share, subscribe. Because beauty deserves to bloom, and every voice helps it grow.